Hey y'all, welcome to Boundaries and Grace. Hey y'all, happy Friday. My name is Taylor Chandler. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and today we're talking about manipulation tactics, okay? In hopes that you are better able to spot these things when they happen and manage them better if and when it does happen to you. Hey y'all. In other words, I want you to stop getting played. I don't know. I'm a therapist, y'all. So obviously I have a lot of, thank you. I'm glad the audio is clear. I got a lot of contact with people who have been played. Okay. Now I've been played. We all been played in some kind of way. Okay. I've been played. And if I would have known what I wanted, what I will share with y'all today, I would not have been played, at least to the degree that I have been played in the past. Okay. So I want to help you. We're going to talk about DARVO. We're going to talk about DARVO. We're going to talk a little bit about sign. We're going to talk about DARVO. We're going to talk about sign. DARVO, y'all, is the specific frame that we're going to talk about today, which is denying, attacking, and reversing the victim and the offender role. It'll make a lot more sense by the time that we're done. I see so many people. You see it. I see it a lot. People are getting gaslit. To deny, I'm going to define that for you in a second. I see so many people being gaslit, leading them to deny and abandon their own experiences in favor of the offending person. Oh, it's so cringy to think about. So you talking about I abandoned my experience. I think I'm crazy when you really the crazy one, when you really the one hurting me, and now I'm doubting myself. That's what it's like to be gaslit, okay? And we're going to talk about the effects of this today. Okay, Tani is in Manassas, Virginia. I'm from Virginia. I'm from Virginia Beach. Okay, is it Kojiro? You're in the UK. It's interesting. I've had a lot of UK clients, actually. It's interesting. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, we're going to talk about sign language. Kevin Samuels brought this. But what I think is so interesting, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sign language, shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. Y'all know that Kevin Samuels didn't really come up with this kind of thing. And I want to share this. It's interesting. I mean, whatever. I don't want to go down that road. But, sometimes people look at somebody like they're a god. And it's like he came up with it when actually there's actually a lot more research on DARVO, which has sign in it. And that's really where I think he got it. I used to work in addiction. Kevin Samuels worked in addiction. I know kind of how we teach things and learn things. And anyway, doesn't matter because he was right. He was right about this. And DARVO is a frame that actually has a lot of evidence and research already out there about these manipulation tactics. Again, sign is in DARVO. DARVO is in sign. And we're going to talk about this today. Now, speaking of Kevin Samuels and the whole manosphere movement, men's movement, okay? And by the way, we're talking about men and women today. I talk about everybody, okay? But I am also going to acknowledge that men are, at this time, resisting manipulation in a way that they never have before. Is that right? Men in the chat resisting manipulation in a way that they never have before. And to Kevin Samuels' credit, he helped a lot of men recognize the ways that they were being played. Okay? And empowered men, y'all listen to me. Women that watch this replay, I want you to keep your ears open here. This is very important because Kevin Samuels, he did empower men to say, not anymore. No more will I deal with this, and helped to put language on it and gave very clear examples of how this shows up. Okay. We cannot argue that. That's just a fact. Men and women manipulate. Men and women can both be trash. Not all. We gotta do this, y'all. We have to do this at this point. Men can do some weird stuff. Women can do some weird stuff. We've got to be clear on that. We are not gonna act like this is a one-sided thing. Everybody can potentially do this, and everybody can get played. Somebody tell me that you're with me so far. Okay. We do healthy here. We don't do weird. This is like my actual job. Okay. I don't know. So we're not going to get weird about it. We got to be realistic. We need to be reasonable so that we can have real conversations. One of the reasons that this is difficult for anyone to recognize when it's happening is because at that point that someone is even comfortable playing you. When somebody, especially when they're doing it consistently, like it becomes sort of like a lifestyle for them to play you or to play other people. They do it when you are primed to trust them and be open to them. People know who they can play. Listen, and I'm saying this as someone who's been played myself, and I can look back and say, they sure did know that they could get me. Okay, she sure didn't know. She sure didn't know. Okay, based on the way that I was showing up and what I did and didn't know, even about my own self. People know who they can play with. Okay. So one of the reasons why this is so difficult when you are being manipulated, one of the reasons why it's so difficult to recognize when it's happening is because you trust the other person. You might even love them. This could be your own family member, okay? And it can make it difficult to spot their manipulation. Quite simply put, because you don't want to see it, right? Like if it's your mother, let's talk about your mother or your wife or your husband. We are primed to believe that this person wants our best interest, that they want to tell us the truth, that they want to be helpful in a conflict or in whatever kind of situation that we're in, that we want to believe that someone is trying to get us closer to the solution, not further into a problem. So we're quite literally primed to believe people that are close to us, which makes it a whole lot more difficult to acknowledge, to accept, to even recognize when someone is manipulating us. Does that make sense, y'all? So in those relationships, you're supposed to be able to generously trust the other person. I said generously trust. In those close, intimate relationships, a romantic partner, a family member, you are supposed to be able to generously trust them to tell you the truth and not hurt you. So when you're gaslit or manipulated, being gaslit is manipulation. When you're being gaslit, when you're being manipulated, it flies in the face of who you thought this person was and who you hoped that they would be to you. Thank you. When you're being gaslit, when you're being manipulated in these intimate relationships, it's sort of like being in a mirror maze. It's like you think that someone's leading you down the right road and then you get hit. You think that you see the other person across the room, but it's just their reflection. When you are gaslit, your idea of reality is being challenged to the point where your sense of reality is distorted, where you then doubt your own senses and perceptions because someone else is saying, no, that's not it. No, that's not right. No, that's not real. So you have a sense of what is real, and someone else that you trust, someone else that you at least think that you know is saying, no, what you think is real, that's not it. That's why I think about mirror mazes. You've been in a mirror maze where what you think that you're seeing is not really what you're seeing, but it's very convincing. So my clients have often, I'm an attachment therapist, right? So I've had personal experiences of this, and also as an attachment therapist for the last 6 years, I've heard more stories than most normal people could imagine about this. Since I'm dealing in attachment, I'm dealing in relationships, and many people come to discover their attachment style after a string of toxic relationships, okay, or one or two really significant toxic relationships. A relationship where you are being consistently manipulated is a toxic relationship, right? Unhealthy, dysfunctional, detrimental to your mental, emotional, even your physical health. My clients have often been dealing with manipulative people. A recent example of manipulation that has made me cringe. I don't know if y'all watch it, Love is Blind. I don't know if y'all watch Love is Blind. I saw the episode with Chelsea and Jimmy. That was a really good example where they're fighting. I think they're still on the honeymoon. Another great example that's been in our faces recently is the Risa Tisa story. Did anybody watch it? The Risa Tisa TikTok story, 50-part story of her being taken advantage of by a man who was psychologically and emotionally abusing her. Now, in the Chelsea and Jimmy situation, Jimmy was the one getting played by a woman. In the Risa Tisa story, Risa Tisa was getting played by that man, Legion. women do this, men do this. Let's talk about what DARVO is. This is the frame. This is a way that you can recognize manipulative tactics. DARVO, deny the behavior that you did. Deny the behavior that you did. Deny. Attack the person that is confronting the behavior. RVO, reverse victim and offender. So who was the offender now takes the place of the victim, and who was the victim now thinks that they're the offender. Y'all got that? Now, Kevin Samuels used sign language: sign, shame, S, shame, I, insult, G, guilt, N, the need to be right. Can y'all see the similarities? Like, he didn't just make all this stuff up. But anyway, sign language: I shame you. Like, you come to me with something that I've done, something that you need me to take responsibility for. I shame you. Maybe I insult you, or I guilt you for even bringing this up, and I need to be right. So y'all got that? DARVO, deny my behavior. Attack you for bringing this to my attention. Attack you for confronting this. RVO, reverse the victim and offender. So think of them both as highlighting manipulation tactics. Sign are ways to carry out DARVO. DARVO are ways to carry out sign. Both highlight manipulation tactics. DARVO is in sign and sign is in DARVO. For example, in order to carry out my need to be right, I deny what I've done. I'm going to say that again. In order to carry out my need to be right, that's the N in sign language. DARVO, deny what I've done. Does that make sense? So they're interchangeable. They're all highlighted. It's all highlighting the same stuff. But I want to bring DARVO to your attention for a couple of reasons. One, a lot of women, y'all, are not listening to Kevin Samuels. They don't care. They don't want to hear it. So I'm going to say it. Okay. Another reason, though, is that DARVO has a lot of evidence and research around it. Like, you can search DARVO right now, and you're going to be able to validate, verify everything that I'm telling you here. Why is that important? Because sometimes we do, especially when we need a change to happen. I think sometimes it's helpful not only to have the force of personality to bring it forward, but also to have some research that you can come back on, not just experiences or good ideas, even if your experiences and your good ideas get at the point. Is that okay? Can I be kind of serious about this? I'm a professional. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to bring a little bit of, I want to help to actually do this the right way and not just kind of be inflammatory. I don't like that. Okay, I don't like that. So again, you can literally search DARVO right now, and I think that it's helpful for you. And if you know the sign language stuff already, you can take that and look up DARVO, and you're gonna get a lot. You're gonna get research articles, and you're gonna get studies, and you're gonna get real academic stuff. Okay, on something that you heard on YouTube. Yes, I remember I was offended when I was in grad school. I was doing my final presentation, and I was like, I had all these good ideas, all these things that I thought they were all mine, right? I was like, I just know this, like, it's just my intuition, and it could all be right. And I remember, and my professor was like, no, like, I know you can find a citation, I know you can find a book, I know you can find a research article, something that is essentially validating what you think you already know, or whatever good idea you already have. He was like, basically, no, it's not an original thought. Now, I might communicate it in an original way. It's not an original thought. Okay? I don't know where I was about to, I don't even want to go down a whole bunch of roads. What is DARVO? This is a consistent reaction and manipulation tactic used by perpetrators of abuse or other types of wrongdoing. I have to pause here. This isn't in my notes, but I feel like I need to say this. We're talking about psychological abuse. Manipulation is psychological abuse. So I don't know if I want to go down this road. I'm trying to think if I really want to go down this road. Let me say this to validate somebody, and then I'll move on. When Kevin I feel like I shouldn't say this. I don't know. When Kevin Samuel was talking about sign language, y'all, he wasn't just giving the blueprint of how women play with men. That wasn't all it is. What he was highlighting, and what I want you to understand, is that we're talking about psychological abuse, challenging someone's sense of reality so that you end up on top, and even at the expense of their mental and emotional health, at the expense of their actual well-being. We're not just talking about the way that someone plays. We're talking about how someone psychologically manipulates. That's abuse, y'all. And just because you're known to do it doesn't mean it's not abuse. Just because women are doing it doesn't mean it's not abuse. Women and abuse can go together, just like men and abuse can go together. And then please don't play with me on some facts and statistics, because what people will do is say, well, then why are the reports? I feel like my heart is going, because I don't know. People will then try to play with some statistics. Talking about, well, it's mostly men that are doing the abusing, and they will not acknowledge the way that people report that men can be abused and not report, will not acknowledge that psychological abuse. How hard is that to prove? You can prove a black eye, damn it. How do you prove that someone has effed with my mind in such a way that I have a hard time trusting myself? How do you damn prove that in the court of law? So please do not play with me on some statistics and some facts, because I'm going to ask you some questions. I felt like I needed to get that off of my chest. Okay, let's get back to the notes. Okay, let's get back to the notes. Do not do it with me. Do not do it with me. Okay. I do not like I don't like any type of manipulation. I don't like anything we're about to talk about right here. And I don't like when people manipulate facts for your own advantage. That's the same shit we trying to stop. Okay. Let me get some water. I don't know. Woo! I didn't even finish reading y'all the damn definition. Okay. DARVO. A consistent reaction and manipulation tactic by perpetrators of abuse or other types of wrongdoing. We got citations here, okay? That's Frey. This is the University of Oregon. Okay, this is a consistent reaction and manipulation tactic used by perpetrators of abuse or other types of wrongdoing. It works by shifting the focus away from the original issue and attacking the actual victim. It attempts to switch the roles of victim and perpetrator to allow the actual offender to receive sympathy and compassion publicly or privately, as well as to avoid consequences for their actions. Y'all, listen, you know how you see people on the TikTok talking about their dates, talking about this man did this and that, and I can't believe this and that. That's not new. The only thing that's new is it's on TikTok, damn it. And it's not a black thing. You think the University of Oregon is just worried about black culture? You think this is where they got it from, that it's black people doing this and that's where they got this research? No, this is psychological abuse across the board. This is not new. I don't know why that feels important for me to say, but it's like, it's not new and it's not black. Now, black gonna do it a little bit spicier. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a little bit, got a little bit, some extra stuff on it. Okay. But y'all understand my point though? In other words, how can we cannot have all this research on DARVO and such if this was new, if this came about when Kevin Samuels brought it up. It didn't start in the 60s and it didn't start with black people. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm trying to just stick to the notes, but damn. Let's break down DARVO. D, deny the behavior. Somebody put it in the chat. Deny the behavior. What does that sound like? I didn't do that. You bring something to someone, you say, hey, when you did this or that, I felt like this or that. And they say, I didn't do it. Or that never happened. How about this? You're imagining things. You have selective memory. Have you heard any of these things? Denying the behavior. Y'all, it's not just denying the behavior. This is an example. This is a manipulation tactic. It's psychological abuse, not because I said it, but because that's what it is. Read the research yourself. I'm going to link the stuff for you to see. This is not nothing. Denying reality, when someone confronts you with reality and you deny it, that's called psychological abuse. When you know what it was or what it wasn't, and you deny it, it's called psychological abuse. We can call it what it is. It's not even just immaturity. It's not even just emotion. It's not just emotional immaturity. It's not low emotional intelligence. It's psychological abuse. That's what denying the behavior sounds like. Attacking the person who confronts. That's A. Attack the person who confronts. This might sound something like this. You're always bringing something up. You're a nag. Right? So slow down right here. You're always bringing something up. You're a nag. So now we've deflected from the actual issue, the thing that was brought up, and now I'm talking about you rather than the issue. And what happens when you're triggered and you're not aware of what this person's doing, or your emotions again are so triggered and you're so reactive, is you damn go with them. And now we're talking about me when we were talking about what you did. Can y'all see that? Attacking the person who's doing the confronting. Rather than talking about what actually happened, now I'm talking about you, because I'm going to attack you who came with the confrontation. It might sound like this. You're so insecure. So something that you did has then triggered me. Now I feel like I need reassurance. I need to know how you feel about me because of something that you actually did. Let's talk about it for real. Let's say you saw your person send in some text back and forth with somebody you never heard about. That's a real thing that could have happened, right? But when you confront, the person then talks about you being insecure rather than what they did to trigger the insecurity, to trigger the need for assurance, to trigger the question. Does that make sense, y'all? How about this? No one else has an issue with this. Why do you? All the people at work love me. All my friends, like, I've had friends since college. Like, I mean, I've had friends since high school. They never say anything. I never heard anything from them. I never heard this from them. It must be you. Has anybody heard that? No one else has an issue with this. Why do you? Attack the person who's confronting the problem. Simple one that people throw this stuff out all the time. You're too sensitive. Miss Wright heard this last night. Well, no one else has an issue with this. Why do you? And how about this? If I'm so bad, why are you with me? If I'm so bad, why are you with me? We're going to talk about the RVO, reversing the victim and the perpetrator. We're going to talk about the effects right after that, why people do it and how you can resist it, what you can do to avoid it in the future, okay? Last one, reverse the victim and offender. Reverse the victim and offender. Where am I at? Might sound something like this. You're trying to make me feel bad. You're so aggressive or controlling. You're a narcissist. This relationship is failing because you don't trust me, even if they were really doing things that were not trustworthy. But now the issue is not my behavior. Instead, it's that you have trust issues. It's your trust issues that get in the way. A lot of times what makes this stuff tricky is that there can be some validity to it. There can be some truth to it. You'd be like, damn, I do got some trust issues. You'd be like, damn, I guess they'd be like, your daddy just like that. You'd be like, damn, I guess you kind of have a point. And that makes that, and that makes this, that can make that difficult for someone to be able to tease out what is mine that I'm bringing into this, and how is that affecting my perception of what's happening and their behavior. It's like, it can make it difficult to tease out. Maybe you really do have a history of something. Maybe you really have gotten it wrong before. Maybe you really did jump the gun in the past, and now that's being intertwined with what's happening in the present, and it can be hard for someone to tease it out, right? When someone can use a truth and manipulation in the same breath. I mean, you gotta have a pretty high level of self-awareness. So that's DARVO, y'all. Let's talk about the effects. What happens when you've been DARVO'd, essentially, which is also being manipulated, which is also being gaslit. Are we on the same page about that? It's also being sign languaged. All of these things are in the same ballpark. All of these things are in the same neighborhood. So you end up doubting yourself, okay? Because we're talking about, right, you have a sense of reality that is then being challenged by someone else's manipulation. They make you doubt your senses. And your senses, y'all, is all you got. All you got is what you can see, hear, what you can feel, and the way that you make meaning out of it. It's all you got is your senses. We rely on our senses to tell us what is happening. So when someone is consistently DARVOing you, when someone is consistently manipulating you, and what did we say it really is? Psychologically abusing you, you then take your senses and start to distrust them. I don't trust my own senses. Then what do I have? I only have then the other person, the offender, the manipulator. I need to rely on you to tell me what it is, because I no longer trust myself. And that's exactly where a manipulator wants you to trust them to tell you what it is, because you no longer trust yourself. So that's one big effect. I doubt myself. I isolate. I feel embarrassed that I'm in this situation. Come on. Has anybody in this chat ever felt like this is so crazy? You might not have been able to put your finger on it at the time, but you had a feeling like this is really crazy. And if I tell anybody, like, I'm gonna look crazy, like I'm gonna look really, like, you'd be like, let me just keep this to, like, how long can I ride this out till I come to some sort of damn conclusion? Okay, because it looked crazy. I know it looked crazy. I know how they was just talking to me was crazy. I know how they were just threatening me was crazy. Come on, that's men and women. And men, I gotta say this, men, I think men got a harder time telling somebody that woman is abusing him. We already touched on this at the beginning. It's easy to prove a black eye. It's hard to prove psychological manipulation, especially in the court of law. And pride, exactly. It's hard to be like, this woman who's half my size has gotten in. Well, not all y'all half their size. I don't want to get into that. That's a different episode. This woman who's, let's just say for the sake of conversation, half my size, has gotten so deep into my big old man brain that I don't even feel like I know myself. That's hard. That's hard for a lot of men to say something about. So you can feel embarrassed. Women got a lot more ease being like, girl, this is what's going on. And you might hold it to yourself for a while, but you probably more likely and more quickly able to say something to somebody about these types of things happening to you than a man is. Women, y'all got that one right? That's fair, right? Is that reasonable? Let's be real. Let's be realistic here. So you can end up being isolated. You feel, whether you're a man or a woman, okay? You can end up feeling isolated because you feel embarrassed that you're in this situation. Y'all, this is important to remember. There is no shame in being abused. The shame is on the abuser. The shame is on the abuser, okay? So we can feel a bit embarrassed, feel ashamed that you're in that situation, okay? The shame is on the abuser for being an asshole. The shame is there. Okay? Because sometimes, y'all, a lot of times what ends up happening, I understand. You end up being like, whether it's during it or finally when you're out of it, end up being like, I should have known. right? This would have never happened to me. I let it happen, especially y'all. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going down. Y'all don't let me get too far off track. But people who end up in this situation, who am I talking to? People who end up in this situation and you're exceptionally caring. You might even identify as an empath. Okay. You might identify as like a nurturer. You identify as someone who is on the more masculine side, a provider. Okay. A provider, a nurturer, a caretaker. You in a caretaker sort of realm. Like you like to make sure that everything and everybody is running very smoothly. And when you don't have boundaries, you end up getting used and abused. Ooh, how did I slip that in there? Okay, when you don't have boundaries, you're getting used and abused because look, you are ultra responsible. Come on, you are overly responsible for other people's emotional and mental and their physical health. Come on. And so when you don't have boundaries and you don't have discernment tuned up, you end up getting used and abused. And then at the end of it, you end up saying, I should have known. They wouldn't have they couldn't have done it to me if I didn't let them do it. And listen, although there can be validity in that, the issue is that you continue that you continue that toxic cycle of taking on what isn't all yours. You do not make someone abuse you. You do not make someone manipulate you. The validity is in, yes, I was a person who could be manipulated, and that's me. Yes, I was a person who could be played like that. That's me. Okay? But me being that, it's not a but, and me being that does not make you do it to me. It doesn't make you do it to me. You as a manipulator, you as an abuser, you do that. There are certain people that can make it more easy. You can do that more easily with some people than others. But you being overly responsible for people does not make them abuse you. They are abusive or manipulative on their own. Okay? Now this is a really tricky thing. Can y'all weave in and out of that with me? Okay? That's important to be able to understand that there's gray and there's nuance here. A manipulator and someone who is consistently manipulated, whether by that one person or by many people who do that same kind of thing, they have to exist together because that type of person allows that type of person to do their thing. The manipulator allows the manipulated to do their thing. The manipulated allows the manipulator to do their thing. They allow each other to do their negative, toxic thing together, but they do not make each other do it. They exist together, but they did not create each other. So it's important and this is later on, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's important, yes, to be able to take responsibility for what you can do to prevent, and we'll talk about this, to prevent this kind of thing from happening. Yes, it's important to know your role. It's also important to give yourself grace. It's also important to understand that you do not make someone hurt you. Okay? And the healthiest thing is to have room for both. I need room for accountability and I need room for grace and compassion. Is that okay? Does that make sense? It's not healthy to have been abused and say it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't who I am. That's extreme. I need to be able to make room for both. My responsibility to protect myself and your responsibility to not be an abusive asshole. Whether you're a man or a woman, okay? All right. That's important, y'all. Sometimes we can get so far on the accountability side that we lose the empathetic side. Okay? And then some people go too much on the empathetic side. It's like, hey, you need to take some responsibility for this. So it's both, okay? We're very both over here. Okay? We're very both. We need to be reasonable. We need to be balanced. We need to be healthy. Okay? All right. I think I made my point. Okay? I think I made my point. You can feel isolated because you're scared to out them. Okay? They might have been, young Roger says, walking on eggshells. Exactly. You might be scared to out them. Because these people can be threatening. They can threaten, maybe calling up your job, telling them something, releasing pictures. Okay, threaten removing resources from you, whether that's even affection, okay, or money or help, whatever. They can be threatening, so you can be scared to out them, scared to tell somebody about what's going on between you and them because they've threatened something. And you grow further and further dependent on their approval. So essentially, like, y'all heard of Stockholm syndrome, where you develop like an affinity for, an affection for the person who is holding you hostage. And so when you've been manipulated, especially when you think that they hold the key to the truth because you can't trust yourself anymore, and you become excessive, and then they're threatening to remove something from you: money, resources, affection, help, place to stay, a ride to work, your job, whatever. You become increasingly dependent on them, trying to please the very person who is abusing you, manipulating you. Another effect of DARVO: all this comes down to you end up with lower self-esteem. You don't trust yourself or others. You feel kind of grossed out with yourself for being in it, especially when you become aware that they're trash and you still finding ways to make it work. And you end up with low self-esteem. By the way, that other person is definitely not building you up or speaking life into you, and unless they're breadcrumbing you. That's a different conversation. And then you start to crave breadcrumbs because they're usually so cold or aloof or judgmental or critical or aggressive towards you that when you get them nice on a Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., that feels like it fills you up for the week because you're so used to them being so stingy with affection or love or care. You end up blaming yourself. I'm somehow making you treat me this way. On top of that, those people will literally tell you, come on. Those people will tell you that it's you. And more gaslighting. Those people will tell you it's you. They'll compare you to other people. Other people, they let me do this. They let me do that. These other people, they don't react like this. They don't react like that. And you like, damn, maybe I am too over the top. Maybe I am too needy. Maybe I am too insecure. Maybe I am too this. Maybe I don't do enough. Maybe I need to do more. Maybe I need to work more. Maybe I need to make more money. Maybe I need to be prettier. Maybe I need to get this. Maybe I need to go to school. Maybe I need to do, because it must be something with me that's making you treat me like this. As if I can't just expect to be treated well because I damn am a person. And they move the goalposts, don't they? Then you start doing the thing that they wanted you to do. Suddenly, it's about something else now. And it just, God, just stop. Damn. All right. Let's talk about how you can resist being DARVO'd. Is that okay? Can we talk about how you can resist it? Y'all say it's hitting home. It's too real. Okay. Great. Thank you. Let's talk about how you can resist being DARVO'd. I got 8 points for you. And of course, I'm going to have a little bit more because I always got more. Okay. How can you resist being DARVO'd? How can you resist manipulation, psychological abuse? Number one, here's one. You can record the events, okay? Write them down. We just heard, in case y'all didn't know, in the recent Tisa story, she had an audio diary, okay? Some of y'all have had experiences with people as well where you felt like, damn, I feel so crazy, or I'm really not sure. Like, am I making things up in my head? Am I misremembering the facts? Or they say something crazy to you, and I need to start writing this stuff down, because you're starting to, you in the relationship, are you also trying to save your damn life and defend, and you working up a whole defense. You turn into a damn defense attorney in your own house. It's so sad, and you trying to build a case with limited resources. You like, all I got is this damn phone. You like, I just got this little phone and a little journal, and you like, let me make it do what it do. Let me try to get my case together. You preparing for what? You don't even know what you're preparing for. You like, I'm just trying to stay damn sane at this point. You like, let me take this little note. Let me get the little audio diary out. Let me just try to keep track. It's not funny. It's really not funny. It's sad. Okay? It's sad. But you can record the events to help you stay grounded in reality. Now, I gotta say this though, and the DARVO people will tell you this too. They'll tell you to record the events, but I'm gonna say this. Now, this is me right here. If you recording stuff, come on now, men, women, you listening in the closet to your own damn self, sounding upset and distressed. You in the closet like, let me try to get you like, what happened last Tuesday? If you got to be doing all that, you in the journal, you in the audio notes, you in the bathroom running water, trying to get yourself together, listening to yourself. If you about to do all that now, some ain't right. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I don't even need to know the details. I'm gonna tell you because you don't know yourself. Some is not right. You should not have to be recording yourself privately, going back over the notes, the details, and the timestamps to try to see if you sane or not in your relationship. Some ain't right. Some is not right. I don't know one person, and I've seen a lot of stuff. I don't know one person where at the end of that, they were like, yep, that's what brought it back all together. I just needed to record my damn self for the last 60 days, take a audio and a written diary and measure everything up. And then I presented it to them and they were like, you know what, babe, you're right. Have you ever heard of that happening? No. Why? Because all it's going to do is piss the person off even more. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know. If you know, you know. You can have you have rock solid evidence. You turned into damn Viola Davis on How to Get Away with Murder. Professor Keating. You a whole Professor Keating. You come with the solid evidence. You got the presentation. PowerPoints, audio been dubbed in. You got video. You got Ring camera. I don't know what you got. You got stuff. You got all kinds of stuff. You put damn, I know people done put trackers on the cars and stuff like that. You present the evidence. They pissed that you follow it. They pissed that now you're controlling. Now you're invading their privacy. It's an L. It's gonna be an L no matter what. Let it go. Take your little evidence. Keep it for your own sanity. No need to try to present it. By the end of it, you're gonna feel even crazier because there are some crazy people who, in the face of hard evidence, they're gonna say, they still not gonna give it to you. Okay. Number 2, how can you resist being DARVO'd? Get other eyes on it. Share what's going on. Invite others to be around. Okay. Now look, if you invite other people to be around and that person that's been DARVOing you, that's been manipulating you, they always find a reason to get out of the engagement. They always find a reason, if they in the house or something, to leave the house. Yeah, it's because they know that they're playing. They know that if somebody else from the outside looking in, that they haven't gotten the chance to get their little nasty talons into their neck. Listen, I'm talking like I know it because I know it. They will find a way to get up out of there. Why? Because they know that if somebody with some damn sense comes into contact with them, or especially sees y'all together, and look how crazy y'all look, they're going to be like, girl, boy, what is going on? They're going to be like, something ain't right. They just don't feel right. Something don't feel right. So listen, if they not willing to be around other people, or if they do come around and you a whole damn different person, something ain't right. I'm telling you that because I care. Okay. It don't take a whole lot to figure that out. Oh, hey, nerd. Thank you. Happy International Women's Day. I didn't know that. I should be getting a gift today. Thank you. Okay. Number 3. Be around others you trust on your own. We're talking about how do you resist being DARVO'd. On your own, be around others that you trust. If your partner makes you feel guilty about that or blocks you from it, that's a red flag. Okay? Be around people that you trust on your own. I'm not necessarily saying that you need to spill all your business to them. I'm not saying that you need to ask them what their opinion is of your situation. What I'm suggesting is that you come out of the smoke and mirrors environment that you've been in with you and that other person. When you're in a relationship with someone who is consistently manipulative, you're almost like in your own worlds. Like they don't want other people getting in your brain or in your space, because then you're going to wake up and recognize what the hell is going on. So that's why I'm suggesting make time to continue relationships with other people that you trust on your own. Does that make sense, y'all? Let's go to this next one. Accept that they will deny and insult you. I'm talking about your mothers here. I'm talking about your fathers here. I'm talking about this can be your parents here. That when you try to bring something to them that they did that was hurtful, that they deny and insult you, deny or insult you. And I think a denial is an insult, because you acting like I'm dumb, like I wasn't damn there. You want to insult me like that? Like I wasn't in the room with myself when you done did that? It's insulting. So, but look, we're talking about how to resist being Darvoed, right? Accept that they will deny and insult you, rather than trying to I know that sounds crazy, but listen to me. Rather than trying to get them to respond differently, you respond differently. People go wrong here. This is so simple, but people go wrong here all the time. Why? Because it hurts your feelings and confuses you, frustrates you, makes you angry, that when you try to bring something up to someone who should be able to just acknowledge it, when that doesn't happen, it hurts your feelings, confuses you, makes you angry, and that triggers you, makes you reactive, and now you're focused on trying to get them to respond in a certain way, as in validate you or affirm you, at least acknowledge what the hell happened. That's all trying to get them to do something in a certain way. You have to abandon that goal. I know how it sounds. You have to abandon that goal. You cannot get someone to do something, especially when they're determined not to do it. They're not just looking for a good argument to do it. They don't want to do it. So you pushing to get them to validate you, to get them to acknowledge, is truly a waste of time. So you abandon that goal and you make a different goal. The new goal, the better goal, is that you stay grounded and you maintain your position and you maintain your experience, rather than compromising, accommodating theirs, or trying to get them to agree with you. Does that make sense, y'all? You need to change your goals of that conversation to resist being Darvoed. You pushing against their denial and insult is only going to digs the rut even deeper. The same principle applied just 5 minutes ago, when I said, if you come to that person, to the offending person, with a whole case file with what they've done and didn't do and all that kind of stuff, chances are they're going to become angry because they're exposed. It's the same principle. So you can be exactly spot on. You can be hitting the nail on the damn head. You can read them I'm not going to say for filth. You could read the whole thing, that you could have a whole assessment. But if someone is not able and willing to take accountability for their behavior, it doesn't matter. Abandon the goal. And again, because we're talking about these types of people, it typically doesn't matter to them. Next, don't accept the role reversal. Even if you do something wrong, look, it takes two to tango, right? People love that line. It takes two to tango. But and it's true, right? And I got to do a whole episode, I think, on how truth and lies exist together. Damn. Truth and manipulation exist together. That's the best kind of manipulation, is put a little bit of truth in it. So someone offends you and they say, well, it takes two to tango. We're not talking about me. We're talking about you. Okay? No, I'm being for real. It's important to be able to stay, and this is your responsibility, to stay on one side of the street at a time. Don't be zigzagging. We're talking about you, we're talking about me, we're talking about you, we're talking about me. If you're dealing with a manipulative person, let me say it like this. In a healthy discourse, we can zigzag because the other person is not trying to get power over you. So we can zigzag. It's not threatening when you say, hey, I want to point out that you did this. And I don't threaten you when I say, hey, I want you to know that you affected me like this. So we're not in defensive and offensive positions. We are on the same team looking at the thing. But when we are offending and when we are defensive because the other person is offending, you cannot afford to zigzag all across the way because their motivation for being in that conversation is different. Their motivation is to win. So you can't be zigzagging because when you zig over to your side, they're not afraid to dig into you. They're not afraid to do it. So when they start to put, so when you bring up the confrontation, when you bring up the issue, and they say it takes two to tango, okay, and you damn right, it does take two to tango, and you're so willing to see your part, cool. So you zig back over to your side, and here's your mistake. You think that it's for the greater good. But what it does instead is it puts you in a position where you now are the, remember, perpetrator. They reverse the victim and offender role. So you were the victim and they zigged over to you and now you've become the offender. And again, if you're dealing with a manipulative person, they are not afraid to dig into that perspective where you say, you know what, I did do that. They will ride it. Because their intention is not to take accountability for the way that they tangoed with you. Their intention is to get you to take responsibility for where you ended up. So with people like this, we ain't zigzagging. We not talking, it takes two to tango. Damn right. We're not talking about me. We talking about you. We talking about you. You. We're not zigging over this side. And after I feel sufficiently satisfied that you understand what you did, I'm happy to zig back over to my side. But until I understand, because I'm tired of dealing with you, because I'm tired of all this back and forth, we ain't going nowhere when we zigzagging. We need to get on one side of the street and we're going to drive this thing till we get to the destination that satisfies me. You understand me? We're not going to keep zigging and zagging, going this way and that way. Talking about me, talking about you. Why? Because you're manipulative. And we're going to stay on you until I'm sufficiently satisfied that you understand what you've done. I'm not zigging back to my side. I've been zigging all this time. All we do is talk about what I've done to make all we do is talk about me. Today, we're going to talk about you. And until you understand you're not going to tell me about me when you don't even understand you. Hold on. Hold on. You got an assessment for me, but I don't feel like, it don't seem like you've sufficiently assessed yourself. We're talking about me right now. Okay? You're doing that. Don't accept the role reversal. Again, I'm going to say this again because this is important. I'm saying in a healthy discord where the motivation is shared responsibility, where the motivation is we're on a team attacking the problem. It's me and you against the issue. We can do a back and forth here. But when one person's closed and the other person's open, zigzag doesn't exist. They want you to zig to your side so that they can dig into your side. And you end up taking the whole responsibility for the whole situation because the intention was not shared responsibility. The intention was to win. So this is where responsible people, you really get in a pickle here because you want to take responsibility. You're ready to do it, right? You come to the conflict like, I want to take my responsibility for however we got here, whatever my part was, I want to do it. So when you don't know who you're dealing with, they will use that against you. So those types of people end up really susceptible to these kinds of manipulators. And the other types of people that are very susceptible are people who they're kind of, I'm sorry to say it, like weak. Like they don't have a sense of themselves. So like they're kind of flimsy, kind of noodly. So they just they over accommodate. They over compromise. Okay. So it's just two like really different, the two personality types can look very different and both of those types can be susceptible to manipulators, albeit for different reasons, right? One wanting to be responsible, you become overly responsible. The other being too noodly, that you're just like, you're so conflict avoidant that you're like, I just want it to stop. So you just like lay down and let them just run you over. All right. Don't accept role reversal. Stay on one side of the street. Let them know you're happy to come back to your part. You understand it takes two to tango, okay? But you're right now, we're focusing on one thing at a time. You set a boundary in that conversation. We're focusing on one thing at a time. And that one thing is your part. Next, assert your boundaries and needs. Assert your boundaries and needs without being offensive or defensive. Assert your boundaries and needs without being offensive or defensive. Now, if you're like, well, I don't know what my needs are, I don't know what my boundaries are, that's where we need to talk. We can talk about that. I'm gonna be doing some classes. I know I'm gonna do some on boundaries and emotional needs and how to literally verbalize these things, articulate these things, whether it's in conflict or just in conversation, okay, without being offensive or defensive. Okay, assert. Now, this next one isn't everybody. It's hardly anybody. I think more people are afraid of this than is realistic. But look, if they go on a smear campaign is essentially using the media, like it could be, of course, social media, using media, especially to tarnish your reputation, to tarnish your name. Again, most people do not have to worry about this. So, but sometimes it happens in like work environments. That's real. Okay. I mean, it's all real, but I'll say more likely. It's more likely that it might happen like at work, there's a colleague or something that's spreading everything, or in your circle of friends, right? Most people don't have to worry about someone going to the media anyway. Or like they posted it on their stories and it's like only 13 people see their stories. Like, I don't consider that a smear campaign. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just, anyway, I don't need to split hairs here. If someone's going on some sort of whatever degree, let me let everybody in. If someone goes to any degree to smear your name publicly, okay, that's what a smear campaign essentially is. Understand this. People will want to agree with people they relate to, even when those people are damn wrong. Okay? So people who always play the victim card will flock to people who do the same because it validates their own position, their own toxic position. Let the birds of a feather flock together. Okay? Let the birds of a feather flock together. I don't think I want to say a whole lot more on this. Is that okay, y'all? Instead of worrying so much about what people are saying and who they're saying it to, if they're posting something about you, if they spreading lies about you, understand that people who want to entertain that kind of garbage will do it, whether it's garbage about you or garbage about somebody else. That's just what they do. That's what they do. Okay? Of course, you just don't like that it's you, but you got to understand, like, they would do that regardless. Last thing here. Look, when you start calling these things out and handling yourself better in situations like this, what you're going to see happen is that the people who were doing the manipulating, they're going to throw you a couple bones. They're going to start to agree with you because they're going to see that they can't play that same game with you. So you're going to start being like, okay, I can see that. Or you're going to hear an I'm sorry when you never heard it before. But when you start to really hold your ground, people start to treat you differently when you start to hold your ground and be like, I'm not going to go fucking insane because of you. And you see people start to do a little something. All of a sudden, you heard an apology. It was stuck in their throat for the last 10 years. And all of a sudden, they found it. Because you act different about you. Anyway. I want to say this. If and when people do start, that person, this manipulative people, okay, when they do start to agree with you, do not forget about all those other things that they did wrong. Understand this. If you've been in environments like this where you have been consistently DARVO'd, sign language, manipulated, psychologically abused, when you hear that first, I'm sorry, when you hear that person start to take accountability and be like, I did do that. Listen, I know what this is like. Too often, people then take all their guards down and they just let that person swoop back in because they finally gave you what you wanted. And they gave you a crumb and you're going to treat it like a meal, right? So what I'm suggesting to you is that when you start to confront these things, that you do not let your guard down immediately. If they do apologize, don't just drop your guard. You need to wait for changed, consistent behavior. Keep track of your mental and emotional experience. Prioritize it rather than their comfort or capacity. That last point is a whole podcast episode in and of itself. I could talk about that for 1 hour straight. Prioritize. When you start to hold your ground, you start to become aware of the need for you to essentially take care of yourself, be responsible for yourself, assert your own boundaries, needs, and your experience. When you become aware that that's yours, and you become aware of like, what is my experience with you? Do I feel respected, valued, heard? And you start to become more aware of where you're at in any kind of interaction with somebody. You've got to, especially when you're new at this, you're going to have to consciously keep that on the forefront when you're dealing with people who are used to running you, who are used to running game on you, who are used to playing you. That could be your parent. I see it so much with people's parents. That's why I keep saying it, because I don't want to act like this is just boyfriend, girlfriend, husbands, wives. I've seen it so much with people's parents, especially the mothers. Controlling, aggressive mothers. Yeah, controlling, aggressive mothers who do not have space for their child's emotional experience. And then when the child, as an adult, starts being like, you know what, we're not playing this game. You're not gonna run this game on me, mom. Okay. And you start to get more assertive and stay grounded in those kinds of situations where she was making you go nuts. And then she finally, I'm telling you, y'all, she finally gives you a little, I'm sorry. She finally says, you know what? I think I could have done that better. I hate to say this. I'm trying to help you. I hate to say it. I'm trying to help you. You need to keep those boundaries right in place. I do not suggest that you just melt into this person just because they gave you what you wanted in one conversation, one time. Okay? Wait for change, consistent behavior. Hold the line. You have to be responsible for this. All right? Last points here. The best way to resist being DARVO'd, y'all, the best way to resist being psychologically manipulated is not to get in a relationship with someone like this in the first place. Now, a lot of people will say, well, if I knew, I wouldn't have done it. And it's a little simplified for me, because a lot of people see red flags, pink flags, yellow flags, all kinds of flags, anything but green. And instead of questioning the flag, instead of pausing things, instead of slowing down and getting curious about the flag, it's like, I hope it turned green. I hope it's okay. I hope it changes. I hope they get it. Rather than being like, no, until I'm holding the line, until I am sufficiently satisfied, until I am confident that this concern is taken care of, I'm going to keep my boundaries in place. If someone cannot manage conflict well, they avoid, they deny, they criticize, let's bring back sign language, they shame, they insult, they guilt. If someone cannot manage conflict well, if someone cannot manage confrontation well, they become offensive or defensive, they leave altogether. Take it seriously. Take it seriously. Y'all, I'm telling you right now, I don't believe in switch-ups. I do not believe people switch up. I believe that people show you more consistently who they've always been. I believe that you miss some stuff. I don't believe in switch ups. I believe in the experience. I believe in you experiencing someone as if they switched up. I don't believe in a genuine switch up. Does that make sense? There's a difference. I do not believe in switch ups. So if you do not want to be all twisted up in your damn brain, you don't want that experience again. You need to take it seriously when someone does not, or you've never had the experience and you're just trying to avoid it because you don't even want it, which I hope that that's the case for you. If someone cannot manage confrontation well, take it seriously. It's normal, and then on your with that where you need to take responsibility for is speaking up when some don't sit right with you. When you walk away from an interaction, a conversation with somebody, let's say that you're interested in this person, or maybe you're dating, okay, and an interaction occurs between the two of you, and it leaves you feeling like, I didn't like that. And you might not even know what it is. You might not even have all the language for it, but you feeling like kind of cringe. You feeling like uncomfortable. You feeling like someone just maybe got away with something with you. You're feeling like you feel a little bit smaller than you did before. You're feeling like somebody maybe used some kind of thing against you. You're feeling off. Whatever it is, you feeling off. Okay? Prioritizing your mental and emotional experience looks like you bringing that forward, confronting the person. It's not blaming. It's not telling them what they were doing, like assigning meaning to what they did. But I'm going to bring my experience to your attention. And that's your responsibility so that you can really experience how they manage confrontation. Does that make sense, y'all? You prioritize your mental and emotional experience rather than their comfort or capacity. Because how often do you keep something to yourself because you're thinking about what they can handle? You're thinking about you about to mess up their day. So you keeping it to yourself when it's the interaction with them that is causing your emotional, or rather that is coming all together. You and that other person's interaction coming all together to create this emotional, mental experience that you're having. But you so worried about them, what they can do, what they want to do. They're talking about, I don't like to fight. And you like, I guess I can't bring it up. They're talking about, it's just so stressful. It's just overwhelming when you talk, oh, well, I guess I can't bring it up. Nope. That's a you thing. Does that make sense, y'all? That's your responsibility. People are so surprised later on when now you forced to deal with a confrontation. Now you got all these kids. Now you got all these expenses and you like the stuff bubbling up. Thank y'all for the feedback. Stuff bubbling up. And now you have to have a confrontation, but you could have had a confrontation 6 years ago, but you kept so much stuff to yourself that now you surprised saying they switched up when they were that all along, but you never elicited this from them because you never asked for them to step forward into the confrontation, to step forward into the conflict, to step forward into the disagreement. And you talking about they switched up. They was that all along. But now a year in, now after y'all living together, now suddenly you ready, now you just can't help but to say something when you could have said something on week 2, when the way they talked to you didn't sit right with you. Talking about a switch up. I be looking at the other person like, sound like you switched up. Sounds like you're the one that now wants to confront the problem. Sounds like you switched. Because they was like, we could keep sweeping stuff under the rug. Sounds like you switched up. And now and I like it. You want to talk about the issue. Now you want to confront. Now you want to start talking about emotional needs and boundaries and how we can do all of that kind of stuff. But let's be for real. It sounds like you switched up because they cool with holding stuff tight to their chest. They cool with sweeping it under the rug. They still don't want to talk about it. So they the same. You switched up. Is it accurate? Is that accurate or not accurate? Someone can't manage. Hey, Lancer. He says exactly. Now there's a buildup and they're far less tolerant. Exactly. And now we got 4 years of issues that you want to deal with this. Now you threaten and talking about you're going to leave in 2 weeks when we haven't heard from you in 4 years about any of this. Women, this is where you got to take some responsibility here. Okay? Because you be cool with avoidance until you ready to talk about it. And now this man got a 3-month timeline to fix the whole damn marriage. We haven't heard from you in 8 years. And he got 6 months to overhaul this thing? Unreasonable. It's unreasonable. Is this not, I mean, come on. Is that not, am I making sense? Are there any women on here that can say that that makes sense? All right. Look, so if someone can't manage conflict well, you got to take it seriously. It's normal enough for someone to disagree with you, okay, in your perception of an event. But it's not healthy for someone to disagree with malice towards you. Like they're trying to hurt you. If they're unable to empathize with your position or they punish you for speaking up. Punishing you might look like stonewalling. That means that they just go cold. It's essentially the cold shoulder. Punishing you might look like stonewalling, intentionally changing their behavior to make you uncomfortable. They slam in doors. People do this in passive aggressive ways and think because they don't cuss you out that they not causing an issue. But they slam in doors, slamming cabinets, being intentionally messy, dirty. You think just because you're not cussing somebody out, I'm talking about men and women. You think just because you're not cussing somebody out, you're not trying to send a message, stop playing with people. Stop playing. So those are ways that those are covert ways that people try to punish you for saying anything. No, you don't get to change your behavior trying to make me uncomfortable because you mad that I confronted you about something that you had a part of or that you just blatantly did. Okay? So you got to look at that, y'all. Those are signs of someone who will not take responsibility for their part. And you're going to be paying for it later. Okay? It's just going to get worse. Young Roger says another example of punishing is talking about you in front of you to other people on the phone. Damn. That's rude as hell. And he's exactly right. That's so sad, right? Don't stand for this stuff. Absolutely not. You know what? If somebody does that thing, says something like that to you, they're going to disrespect you in front of your face. Get your style. You leave. That I'm not saying you leave forever. I'm not literally saying you need to break up. I don't know anybody for all of that. But you need to take your stuff, and you cannot keep sitting for that. Men and women. Anybody who does that kind of thing in front of you, disrespecting you to your face. I saw some clip. I don't even know the names of the people. But this lady was disrespecting that man on the microphone. She had a mic. It was like his podcast. I don't know. I literally do not know their names. I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm not even trying to be rude. It's no shade. I don't know who these people are. They got some kind of podcast. I saw the clip and the woman was like talking about all the things that he didn't do for her. Are you serious? I was like, this man is crazy. First of all, of course, she's nuts for doing that. That's so disrespectful. And he is crazy for sitting through it. I'd be like, cut the cameras, get up out of my studio. Absolutely not. You're going to stop sitting around to be embarrassed and disrespected. No. People know who they can play with. That's totally unacceptable for anybody to deal with. And y'all start to see right when you start putting your foot down and be like, absolutely not. Suddenly they immediately know what they were doing. Suddenly they know what they was doing. Suddenly it's an apology that was stuck in their throat. Suddenly, when you're like, you know what? I'm not standing for this. I'm leaving. Nope. I'm not sitting for the rest of this date. Nope. I'm leaving. Cash App you my half. I'm not sitting through this. Nope, taking you home right now. And suddenly, I'm telling you, there are women out here that are that all of a sudden, right when you say nope, they like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it like that. No, take him home. And that's what did I say earlier? When you finally get that bit of agreement, and it's going to feel good. It's going to feel good. It's going to feel good. You're going to be like, we really getting it. Nope. Be like, nah, I'm still going to take you home. No, I'm still. Maybe. We could talk. We can talk on Saturday. We could talk. We could talk like I don't know next week, and after I sit with this for a while. But yeah, date's over. Yep. Like I said, you wait for changed, consistent behavior. Don't go with that first like, oh, because right when you start to put their foot down, I'm telling you, y'all, I can't emphasize this enough. Right when you start to put your foot down, somebody who still wants you, who wants to be around you, whatever, and they start to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You want dinner? You want this and that? No, no, oh no, I'm good. Do not, guys, men. I'm clearly I'm talking directly to y'all right now. Men, do not take it. Don't take it. I'm not saying you got to write her off forever, but that first one, if she apologizes that first time you put your foot down, don't go with it. Don't do it. I'm saying it again and again because I'm serious. I see y'all get played like this. Like I'm gonna sit on this for like let's say it was Saturday, right? Today's Friday, right? Let's say it happened Friday. Be like, you know what? I'm gonna take the weekend. I'm gonna take the weekend. I'm gonna think about it, and then I'll let you know when I'm ready to talk. Don't say I didn't help. Don't say I did not try to help you. You gonna see? You watch and see what happens. This is gonna happen. Y'all that don't usually do this, that speak up, that say like I don't like that. Watch this happen. Clockwork. You turn that car around. She gonna be oh. What you mean? What you mean we ain't go? I don't care if you already bought the tickets. You can call somebody else and go with them. Call your friend, do whatever. You know, I'm not saying you do anything to sabotage to I'm not trying to tell you to compromise the whole relationship. I don't know your situation like that. But even if you, I'm telling you, trust me, your self-respect is more important. I don't care. You paid that $50 to do the aquarium. Your self-respect is worth more than that. The entree didn't come yet. Pack it up and you take the bags. You was paying for it anyway. The fuck? No, you don't get your half. No. Are you cash apping me half? The date, we didn't even have a whole date. Y'all gotta stop. You gotta stop it when it happens. If you already paid for it, pack it up. You got that ticket early. Pack it up. Your self-respect is worth more than that. You will thank me later. You will. You will. The worst thing you can do, I'm talking to y'all right now. The worst thing you can do is reward bad behavior. Somebody disrespects you and you still, because you didn't want to lose $50, $100. I'm telling you, and usually it's less than that. You're talking about 20. Someone disrespects you and you still they still get to go to the game? Oh, fuck no. You cannot reward this. You cannot. It totally cancels out you saying anything at all. I'm serious. I was talking to one guy. He might watch this later. I was talking to one guy. He was a past client. He had already bought. Now I didn't know this at the time when he scheduled a call because this is our second time meeting. It was a sporadic meeting. When we talked and he told me what was going on with this lady, I said, I got to tell you the truth. You're being played, and I know this, and I know this is going to happen. And I went all the way down. I said, I have to tell you this. In case we never talk again, I cannot get off of this call without telling you, you're getting played. This is not good. I know what she's doing. I get no pleasure from saying this, guys. It's like, this is exactly what's going on. I even said what her mother was like. I didn't even know anything about this mother. He said her mother just did this. Right after I said that, he was like, oh my gosh, her mother was just like this. Her mother just did this and that and that. I said, I know. So he said that she was going to come to the where he was at. And I said, well, who bought the ticket? He bought the ticket. Now I'm not going to give you all the details, and it's nothing wrong with buying a plane ticket. If you really like somebody, I think that's a very chivalrous thing to do. I'm not going back and forth about that. What I am going to say is this. But when he knew that he was getting played, I told him, I said, you can do whatever you want, but this is what I'm going to suggest to you. Cancel the ticket. If you lose the money, Your self-respect is worth more than that. If you cannot finagle it, or you can't pay to transfer or do whatever you need to do, or you need to transfer her to somewhere else other than you, or even if she comes, she cannot stay with you and you don't even meet her when she gets there, cancel it, reroute the ticket. When you find out you're getting played, when you find out you're being disrespected, you do not reward that. You're going to feel a lot better later. You're going to feel a lot better after. You're going to be like, damn, it was like maybe a little bit of money, whatever. But imagine paying to get played. Imagine paying to get played in your face. That's what that is. You're not saving money by continuing to do the thing. You really paying to get played. That's embarrassing. You're being disrespected. So you can't do that. Okay? All right. Okay. Anyway. I gotta move on. We gotta go. So look, last things, y'all. How can you resist this? Up your self-confidence. Speak up when things are not right. Speak up when things are not right. Okay? Not just with people who are manipulative, but anywhere where stuff is not right, where like you do not get the experience that you signed up for. If you are not this person already, start speaking up when things are not right. You'll be surprised how often you get what you really want. When you just say, hey, I didn't pay for that. Hey, I'm not doing that. Or you added this extra and I don't want that. Or I don't like this. Take this off. Or don't act like this in front of me. Like when you say, I don't accept this and I need this instead, you're going to be surprised how often you get what you want. Because so many people don't say anything because they're just afraid of how the other person's going to look at them. Or they're afraid of being told no or something. Or they're afraid. It's like, what? I'm afraid of not getting what I want. So you got to say what it is that you want and what you need. You'll be surprised how often you get what you want. Don't accept this kind of manipulative behavior that we've talked about today. Don't accept it from anyone. Not just with your guys, with the women that you're dating, women with the guys that you're dating. Don't just refuse to accept it from them. Refuse to accept it from your family. Y'all, I'm telling you, when you let family members, the people that are supposed to be closest to you, get away with this stuff, it always seeps in to your romantic relationships. If you cannot stand up to your mother, if you cannot set boundaries with your father, it's very difficult for you to do it with other people consistently. And if you can do it with the mother and father, I'm not even saying they're wilding. I'm just saying you're willing to say something when something isn't right or something doesn't sit right with you. Whether they agree or not, whether they change or not, it's not the point. It's about you having the confidence to be your actual self in their presence. If you can do it with them, you can do it with anybody. If you can do it with parent, this is a deeper kind of concept, but if you can do it with them, it's the process of what we call in the psychological world, differentiation, where I start to make separations, not just physically, like moving out, but mentally and emotionally, I separate myself from my family of origin. And when you can do that, you become an individual that can still have, and should, we hope, have healthy relationships with your family. Ideally, it doesn't happen for everybody, but you're able to do that and have space and create healthy relationships in your romantic life. But if you are overly involved mentally and emotionally, as in I'm afraid to speak up, that's a mental and emotional over-involvement. We call that enmeshment, okay? So we are overly involved with what my parent or parents think of me, that I am not able to be me in their presence. You are unable then to consistently do it outwardly. If you get it right in the family, you're set yourself up to do it right consistently with anybody else. It comes down. I don't want to go down another road. I'm just going to say this. People often don't want to be made out to be the bad guy. People often don't want to be made out to be the bad guy. And so they deny, they shame, they guilt, they attack. They don't want to be made out to be the bad guy. We need to understand that it's the bad guy who can't acknowledge that they did something bad. It's the bad guy who keeps trying to weasel out of taking responsibility for their impact on other people. That's the bad guy. But in people's efforts to be the good guy, they end up being the bad guy because they try to weasel out of accountability. Good people acknowledge when they do bad things. bad people act like it never happened at all. We got to go. Okay, thanks, y'all. Bye.